Okay, so I printed up that other bracket, and this is what I've got. Got two on either side. The gap is about the same, so I mean it's at least it's consistent. And we'll see how it goes when I put it to the desk. So I know I mentioned at the very beginning that I would put this probably on some kind of a timer or a light sensor. And the reason why I said that is because I could have sworn that I had one, and actually it turns out I found it. So this is a pretty fancy one. It's like an indoor-outdoor one, and I love it because it's got a little photo sensor here, and then it has a dusk-dawn setting. So once I get this plugged in and set up, it will turn on when the lights go off in here. So it will be a valid night light, exactly like I wanted. So pretty stoked about that. So anyway, yeah, no, I made the two of them. They're exactly the same, and they both sit in there really secure. So why don't we put this thing together and see what we get? Okay. And put it vaguely centered, like such. All right, and keep the cord clear, and then I'll put the desk back pretty close to where it was. And anyway, I will show you what it looks like back there, but it's pretty much exactly like I said. It's like it's snugged up right up against the wall, so it's not going anywhere. So it'll be pretty cool. So, all right, so I've got it set for dusk dawn, which means it'll be hooked up to the light sensor. The switch itself is already on the light. So once I plug this in, nothing should happen. But light goes out, the desk light should come on, so we'll see what happens. Okay, it says it's getting power. I'm going to walk off camera, but I'm going to go flip off the lights and we'll see what happens. There we go. So as you can see, light went out, night light went on. Now, it's an outdoor light sensor, so the light will stay on for a little while because the light sensor is programmed to make sure that it is actual daylight and not a fluke. For, you know, like the flash of a yard light or a vehicle's lights or something like that. So the light stays on for a little while until it is sure that it is actually light in here, but it'll turn off on its own here in a couple minutes. But there you have it. Oh, see, there it goes. It lights up the space pretty well. I mean, it's a decent night light, so I'm pretty happy about it. So, yeah. So that's it, from beginning to end. I didn't cut anything out, so you saw the whole deal. And that is how you build a prototype of something. So obviously in the end we had that little bit of a gap, but like I said, not a big deal because it's butted up against a wall, and I'll show you that before the video ends. Or how about right now? So yeah, anyway, in conclusion, I think it's going to work great. And I actually did learn some pretty cool stuff during doing this project. I learned that Tinkercad is an awesome program. If you need to build something, as long as it's not too complicated, I mean, and you can play with that program. It does some pretty neat stuff. I am very, very impressed with it. In fact, I've got other projects down the line, one of which I've already started as a mini project for the Patreon page that I use Tinkercad for. And hopefully that'll be coming up here in the next month or so. I'll get that all hashed out and finished. But yeah, no, Tinkercad definitely worth checking out. Another very important thing that I learned about the 3D printer is that if you'll recall, I printed these guys this way, but then when I did the bracket, I had it so the peg was on its side like this, and then the bracket built up this way. Well, the reason for that is, like I mentioned earlier about the strength of it, because like here I'd built did a test of it, and because it was built like this and all the layers were this way, the peg snapped off like it was nothing. So it was definitely not going to be able to have, you know, a whole lot of durability to it. I mean, because I didn't even have to push that very hard. But so I learned about that. I knew about it, but I didn't know how it worked, like, you know, in the real world until this project. So I'm really glad that I got to do that. The other thing that I learned was that the resolution for accuracy on an FDM 3D printer changes between vertical and horizontal. Like, you know, this peg, my final peg, this guy right here, this was like, it fit perfectly into the keyhole on the light. And this was what I used when I built the one sideways, and when I put that one into the light, you know, it still works, but it was way tight, even though it was the exact same size, because it was built one way versus the other way, horizontally versus vertically. It ended up being a different size. So where I dialed everything in on the vertical accuracy, that horizontal accuracy ended up being a little bit different. It wasn't big enough to be a make it or break it for the project, but it was obvious. So that's something I'm going to be mindful of the future. Let's see here. I think that the station looks really great when it's lit up. I know the camera doesn't quite capture it, but it does. It looks great in here with the desk lit up like that, and I really like it. And then I guess I'd have to say, lastly, that for something like this, it doesn't have to be perfect to be right. Those brackets do everything I wanted them to do. It holds the light in place, as you saw, and they do a great job. I mean, like I said, that flushes up against the wall. You can't even tell that, you know, that there's much of a protrusion. So it worked out really well, even though I had that extra gap and that it didn't fit, you know, it didn't fit snug against the glass or anything like that. You know, I didn't get the 100% perfect, but the 95% I ended up with is just great. So so in this instance, because I didn't need exact perfection, I didn't muss or fuss with something that worked just fine. Anyway, that's about it. It was a success as far as I'm concerned, and yeah, I'm going to end this video so I can get to work on the next project. Until next time.